women come in all shapes and sizes, right? And every woman is beautiful. And I think that you should really be confident in your body and the way that you look, you know, wake up feeling your best. But I feel like especially on social media and in society today, this body positivity movement, I've seen like multiple times where there's like obese women promoting body positivity, and it's like I wouldn't want like my
What's
kid.
obese for you?
Like an unhealthy lifestyle.
No,
like
but
overweight.
appearance-wise, what's obese for you?
Obese, like medically
me,
obese.
If you see me, you consider me obese?
I wouldn't say that you're obese, but it's like medically,
so,
you know.
So like for example.
So you're medically obese though? Yes.
I've been medically obese since I was like 12 and I was not obese.
Well, does anybody here?
So there's a lot to unpack there in this first little bit, but first I'll just say that they're already being too nice, which is a theme throughout this video. You shouldn't be calling people ugly or being mean or negative to anybody, but you also can only entertain so much delulu before just losing the plot completely. Not every woman is beautiful or can be beautiful, although it's subjective, but if every woman is beautiful, that word doesn't really mean much. Still, we shouldn't be rude to people, men or women, and say you're ugly and go after their appearance and insult them, but we don't have to pretend that everyone is beautiful when we all know that's just not really true. And I can't believe the first woman wasn't willing to answer her question and say, yes, you are obese. Scratch that. Actually, you're not obese. You're almost certainly morbidly obese. This isn't an insult. It's not a put down. It's not an attempt to disparage you. You are still, in many ways, seem like a wonderful human being, and you have so much value and positivity to offer the world. It's not a judgment of your moral worth as a person. It's just an observation of a medical fact. If you are the weight that you clearly are, at the height that you are classified as morbidly obese. There's no subjectivity to it. It's a scale that exists and isn't perfect, but in cases like this is clearly accurate, so it's just an observable fact. You can't not identify as a fact. And this response that, well, they've said I was medically obese since I was 12 and I wasn't obese then. Yes, you were, if they were telling you that, unless you're suggesting that they measured you incorrectly or something, which I'm just going to assume wasn't the case. The comments section on this video did not take kindly to this woman's approach. Obese isn't a bad word. They're acting like it's a slur. If you're obese, then you're obese. Yeah, I agree with this. Obviously, it has some stigma attached, unfortunately, but it is just an objective rating, right? It's either true or false. There's no subjectivity here. Would you consider me obese? ... People sometimes are really blind to their outer appearance. Yeah, again, no shade to these women. I don't want anyone to insult them or make fun of them in the comments at all. Be kind. However, you are in denial, and that's not what's best for you, you know, because this is going to harm your health and hurt you in the long run. And I want you to live a long, happy, beautiful life, but you are clearly morbidly obese, and just denying that fact isn't going to get us anywhere. Another person said, I think a lot of the women here are afraid to get canceled. A lot of them are definitely hesitating. Yes. And this is the exact opposite of how the debate with the men went.
Fat concentration camps.
And maybe that's just kind of more feminine energy that was present from some, although not all of the people in this debate, but they were very kind, almost to a fault. I think some of these people need harsh truths told to them in a polite and respectful and empathetic way, but one that's firm and still acknowledges the facts and the consequences of their actions. Another person writes, when you see me, do you think I'm obese? Yes. I am a person who's also medically obese, and I do believe you're obese. Just to clarify, that says nothing about who you are as a person, but merely answers the question asked. Another person writes, obesity is a medical term. It's like saying you don't have diabetes just because you feel fine. Just because you don't feel obese doesn't mean you aren't. Yeah, I mean, this is just correct. It's just, we've got to be able to talk about facts, and facts exist independent of your feelings or self-identification, as verboten as that is to say in today's society. There is a similar lack of self-awareness in the second clip we're going to go through, but first, a message from today's sponsor.
Today I'm going to show you how to use pumpkin spice pronouns and sentences, so let's go! I can realize it.
That's better. Sometimes I feel absolutely cooked at the end of a long day, wading through TikTok brain rot and more insanity from the Wi-Fi password community. One thing that helps me cope and regenerate some of my destroyed brain cells is a cup of tea from my friends over at Lion's Tea Exchange, the sponsor of today's show. Founded by my friend and fellow YouTuber Sydney Watson, this delicious tea is sourced from across the globe, from Nepal to Japan, but made in America and packaged meticulously by hand. I love the lemon ginseng tea to sip and unwind after a day of dealing with Delulu. If you too need something to bring you some peace in this increasingly insane world, go to the link on screen or in the description and check out Lion's Tea Exchange today. Plus, if you use the promo code BRAD, you can get 10% off your order. Check out Lion's Tea Exchange now. Guys, please show Sydney some support and some love. She is a dear friend. She's put so much time and effort into Lion's Tea Exchange, and I've been drinking it all week since I got my package. I actually genuinely love it. So please do go to the link in the description or the comments and check it out and show her support. It's a great way of showing that you support this show too. And please do comment with your thoughts as we go along in this episode. I do read the comments and I pick a few to respond to in every episode. Plus, this episode is probably going to get demonetized and copyright claimed by Jubilee. So leave your comment with a super chat or a super thanks if you want to support the show, because probably not going to get any YouTube ad revenue, unfortunately. So it's just a labor of love today. Now, another woman that was featured in this Jubilee debate demonstrated a similar level of delulu about their own situation, shall we say.
Would anybody here explain what they mean by medically obese?
Exactly.
Like
BMI.
like when you go to the doctor's office and you get weighed on a scale and they'll tell you, oh, you're a little bit overweight, or they'll say you're morbidly obese, you're
because of your
whatever
height.
these things. So like if you look at me, you would be like, oh, she's a little plus size, but I am technically considered obese.
So
by my doctors.
Oh my. I'm not trying to be mean, guys. She seems so sweet and so delightful, and she does mention in this video later on that she has PCOS, so it is very difficult, although not impossible, to maintain a healthy weight when you have that health condition. However, you are not a little plus size. You are objectively morbidly obese. You are very, very overweight, and it's not kind or compassionate to dance around that fact or pretend that that's not true, or just pretend that the emperor is wearing clothes when he's walking around butt naked. Because obesity-related illness is one of the leading causes of preventable deaths in the United States, right up there with smoking cigarettes and lung cancer. And people, it drastically shortens your lifespan and hurts your health to be obese at all, let alone morbidly obese. And so we should be trying to help these people. We should not be bullying them. We should not be making fun of their bodies. We should not be shaming them or stigmatizing them. But we also shouldn't be in Delulu land. We shouldn't be acting like morbidly obese people are just a little plus sized, or that if you are morbidly obese objectively, but you don't feel that way, you feel fine, that then somehow you're not obese. Oh, no. Delulu is not a solulu. In the comments, one person wrote, the bigger women in this video need to start taking accountability. Preach. Preach. That is one of the biggest problems I see in modern society, especially on the internet, is people unwilling to be self-critical or honest or open to feedback or accountable for their own choices in any way. And it's really toxic and harmful, not just to themselves, but I guess mostly to themselves in this case, but also to society. Another person writes, hearing all the excuses from the ladies that are bigger, that used to be me. And honestly, it's so depressing to see them use the same excuses I did. Minus 120 pounds later, my whole perspective is different. Well, Amanda, I am so proud of you, and it is possible. It's not easy. I don't pretend for a second that it is easy, but people like you make these changes and take accountability, and it's so amazing, and I hope it's an inspiration and a model to others. Now we've got to go back to Lupe, the woman from the first clip that we went over, because she's still arguing that she's not obese, even later in this video, because she doesn't feel that way.
For me, because I am a person that I'm big, but I'm, like I said, I'm still able to go on hikes and I won't lose my breath. I can go on runs, I can exercise. So if for the doctors I'm obese because of the size and the stuff that I am, for the doctors, for me, it is not the way that it works, because an obese person, I've had friends who are skinnier than me. We go on walks and they're losing their breath.
So for you, obesity is just the health parameter of how physical you can be. For you. It's not a physical manifestation of the body.
I don't know how to explain this to you, babe. Obese is not a subjective term. You don't get to decide what does obese mean to you. It's an objective medical definition based on your BMI. BMI is not perfect. It has flaws. But in cases as extreme as this woman's case, it is accurate. And it's so great that you're still able to maintain physical activity and do things, but that's not what obese is defined as. And frankly, if you maintain your current state of affairs, that may eventually decline. It is highly likely that your mobility will suffer. And the fact that some other people who are thin and frail and have other more severe health issues also are able to exercise less than you doesn't really tell us much about your health. And nobody's ever argued that obesity is the only thing that affects or influences health. So they could have something else going on. Just you're trying to make it seem like, well, I'm overweight and they're underweight and I'm able to hike better than them. Okay, well, there's many things that affect your ability to engage in physical exercise. No one's ever said it's just your weight, but yes, it's a huge part of it. And all I'm getting from this woman, from Lupe, is denial and excuses. And it's sad. It's heartbreaking because her lifespan is going to be shortened by this almost certainly. I mean, you see rare cases like the people who smoke 2 packs a day and live to 103 and never get lung cancer, right? And the same thing is true with obesity. It is just a fact, and I will link to the sources in the description of this episode, that being morbidly obese decreases your average lifespan by 14 to 20 years. I don't want that for you. I want more for you. I want you to live a beautiful, positive, long, happy, and healthy life. But the excuse making and the denial and the Delulu Olympics on display in this video aren't going to get you there. They're going to get you to an early grave. And that is a tragedy, but at least in part, it is a tragedy of your own making.